When can you step in with your authority, and when do you have to allow the process of law to take place first?
It really depends on the law and the case type. So most people are familiar with civil and criminal cases where ultimately a jury makes the decision. And in criminal, of course, it's guilty or not guilty. In civil, it's whether or not you're going to rule for the plaintiff or rule for the defendant. And that is a system that's obviously so important to our democracy. And truly, as a judicial officer, I appreciate it more than I ever did before. It's really fascinating to know that it is a community truly of our peers that make those decisions and, like I said, sit in judgment. However, we also have other case types that don't involve juries. Most things other than criminal involving children and families are case types where ultimately all the trials are called bench trials. And that means that it's a judge making all of those decisions. I've been a family law judge now for almost 2.5 years. And what that means is day in, day out, I deal with divorce, child custody, financial orders related to divorce or child custody, meaning child support, spousal support, division of assets, and then also domestic violence cases and adoptions and parental termination of rights. In my cases, I'm the finder of fact. I listen to the evidence, and let's say it's a case about domestic violence, I have to determine whether or not the standard's been met by the moving party. And there is a lot of consideration that I put into those decisions. But the thing I would love for your listeners to know is I love that I'm doing this because I do think it humanizes people on the bench. And as an attorney for so long and as a judge now, it's easy to forget what it's like for people to walk into court and have to walk into a courtroom and swear under oath before a judge, before someone wearing a black robe, and tell them your story. What I try to do is ensure that people who come to court know that there's a human being on the other side who can relate, who can understand, and whether I rule for or against you, will listen fairly to what you have to say and try to understand the situation. When I think about my role as a judge, specifically when I'm the bench officer making the rulings rather than a jury, it never leaves me how important the decisions that I make are, and to try to connect with the people before me as a human being.